Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the America Guns and Freedom Podcast with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. As always, this is just a chat where you guys decide what we talk about. You ask the questions, you suggest the topics, ask me anything that doesn't have to be gun related. I will do my best to address it. If you ask me something technical or about something I don't have any experience with, pay attention to the live chat. Someone out there will be able to answer your question, and they're more than happy to do so. So pay attention and, participate, build some community. That's why we do this every day, so that there's a place everybody can come every day for an hour or two and have conversations with like-minded individuals about common interests. We used to do this every night back in the day, so I'm trying to take up that slack now. But like I said, participate, ask whatever you want. Nobody's excluded. Someone today commented on one of the videos I reposted. He's like, yeah, go ahead and keep deleting all the negative comment. I'm like, I haven't deleted any comments. This is a repost. The comments that came in during the live chat are still on the live version, but this is a repost. You won't get the old comments brought over. If you want to comment, come to the live broadcast. Hopefully he figured that out. With that being said, I like to start off by reading if anybody has bought any merchandise over the last 24 hours. I don't think we've sold any over the last 24 hours. If I'm not mistaken, we have not. No, we have not. We sold a couple good days there, but nothing today. Let me get to the questions now, since we got that answered. We got Edgar Cortez weighed in today with a donation. I bet he just said TYMP. Yes, he did. He just said TYMP. But he's got an email question over here I can get to in a little bit. John Heasley chimed in and said, let me win the knife. Thanks. I found a great deal on that TRR8 I sent you a picture of. I saw that you sent it, and you're pissing me off. Although I'd rather you get that than the 360 PD, because I already have that. Jason Thompson, Officer Tater Hater, chimed in, says, I was shocked that NEA didn't know who Sonia Massey was when I brought it up in his chat. She was the pot of water lady shot in her kitchen. Matt actually thought she was Congresswoman Massey's wife. Well, not everybody remembers everything. I often don't remember who these people are. And a lot of times I'll remember the story, but not the name. Like you'll say, like, remember what happened to blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, no, I don't remember. But then when you say they're the one that this, if you'd have said, remember to the lady that got shot at the pot, well, then I've been like, yes, I remember that 100%. They said she was going to throw boiling water on him or something. So they shot her. But if you just said her name, I may not remember. And someone said, are these the knife parts you're looking at? Not quite. Those are a similar thing, but no, these are thumb studs they're called Chicago screws. Maybe I can find them under that. Maybe. But let's get back to the questions. I'm getting distracted. I get distracted fairly easily. I don't know if y'all noticed that about me, but I get distracted fairly easily. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've had several head injuries. And I think that might contribute to it. Do you think carrying one extra magazine or one speed loader is enough? Said Johnny Mandrick. Well, I think carrying no extras is enough, really, because what are the chances you're going to need it? Well, the chances you're going to need more than that. I'm fine if someone just carries their gun. Especially if it's just a revolver. I mean, it's going to work. So if you don't have more rounds, who am I to tell you you're going to need them when the chances are you're not? Now, will I say it's a good idea to carry extra, and carrying an extra magazine is a great idea, especially for semi-auto, because you never know if your magazine might not work. And extra rounds, if you're carrying a revolver, all of that can be good. And it's a good idea, but I'm not someone who's going to tell you have to do it. So I think carrying one extra is doing a lot. So I applaud people who do. But I'm not going to tell them they need more. Does that make any sense the way I said that? Thomas Campbell paid his tithe to Phil. His $2 tithe to Phil. He's such a big bad know-it-all builder and didn't even bother to pull a permit. He thinks he can do whatever he wants whenever he fucking wants. Burn out his daily bullshit. I think he's talking about Trump. First, I thought he's talking about me. I was like, wait, what? Builder? I don't build nothing. Oh, look, never enough ammo showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I kicked you out of the chat. There we go.
So your Alzheimer kicked in today and you forgot what tonight's podcast was supposed to be?
I actually don't know if it was this week. I think it was last week.
No, it was this week.
And I think I forgot it last week. Or did I send out emails?
Last week was our week off.
Oh, I might have sent you an email last week.
No, you didn't.
I think I sent no. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago. I sent one to G Webs and he said he had dinner plans.
Yeah, we were supposed to do one 2 weeks ago, but I was working, so I couldn't be there.
And G Webs had dinner plans, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be it. All the time kind of blurs together for me. I didn't even really remember it was Thursday, to be honest. When you don't have a defined schedule where you go do certain things on certain days, it all blends together. But yeah. All right. I ask you, do you have an opinion on the fucking ballroom thing?
Oh, I could give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah, it's kind of I try to get outraged, but I'm like,
I don't see a reason to outrage or.
I mean, I don't like them tearing down the existing building when they said they weren't going to. But other than that, I'm like,
I don't give a shit.
I thought we probably already had a ballroom. I didn't know we didn't have one.
They could build a water park there. I wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like I don't care.
And I think, and I will say, I think the Oval Office is the tackiest fucking thing I've ever seen. It looks like it was decorated by somebody's grandmother. But the ballroom drawings actually look pretty nice. So I'm not that outraged. I mean, I'm sure there's aspects of it to be outraged about, but it isn't on my radar really. Daniel Pennant weighed in and said, tithing for the critters. For the critters. We actually do help some critters because one of the things we give money to, is a animal rescue that deals in things like, I just got an email from them today where they took in another, what do they call this thing? Honey bears, but what's the real name for them?
Honey badgers?
No, honey bears, not honey badgers. Honey bears, they're like a relative of the raccoons.
Like the Sugar Crisp bear?
No. That's Sugar Bear. They're like Kika somethings or something.
Pikachu.
Not Pikachu, like Kika somethings.
I don't fucking know.
But they took one in where the owner had pulled out all of its teeth because it bit their kids. So that was sad. But it's got to have a better life now. But we support one of the animal rescues that deals in animals like raccoons and those things. And they got some emus and some baby goats and stuff. But as I was saying, where was I at? What was I talking about? I've forgotten now. Thomas Campbell chimed in and says, he ain't no pro 2A besides his sons and friends, pure FUD. Remember, he was take the shit first, ask questions later. I never forgot that. I don't have to be reminded that he said that. I have always been on the Trump is not pro 2A, and neither are any of his friends or people he serves. Or
dude, we've been having this conversation since he said he was running in 2015. I and you both got so much shit for saying Trump is not pro 2A.
Yeah.
When it is blatantly obvious. And I mean, I don't think this is any secret. I mean, I do like Trump better than you do, I think. But I've never thought he was pro 2A. It was one of the things I spoke out a lot about him back in 2015 and 2016. He is a New York liberal who has never been pro 2A. And while I think he has tried to to be more pro 2A on, throughout his Republican career. He has not moved far. I think he's gotten a little bit better, but like the Second Amendment is not something he's ever like even fucking thought about. Like he's never done any research into it. I don't think it's ever been a concern for him because he's always been rich. He's never had to think about whether or not he could own a gun. You know what I mean? It's just not something he's ever cared about. I don't think he's particularly anti 2A. I just think he doesn't give a shit. I think he's never had a reason to think twice about the Second Amendment and what it really means.
Well, there's where we disagree because I think he is anti-2A because I don't think he wants all the people who find out eventually that he's duped them to be armed. Because like the ranchers are finding out and the farmers are finding out and everybody else.
I've never seen anything anti or pro 2A out of him. But usually when I see interviews and things with him where the Second Amendment and gun rights come up, he looks like a fucking deer in headlights. Like it's just something he has absolutely no knowledge about whatsoever.
And it's like, it's when he was appointing his Supreme Court justices, I was like, hey, that Kavanaugh's not pro-gun. He's pro-big government.
Yeah.
And you can't be pro-big government and pro-gun. Same thing with Gorch and all these people. So we were always like, hey, dump them, get somebody who's actually pro-gun. But
I mean, the only one that he's nominated that I thought was actually pro-gun was Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, that changed what she got.
And yet she's kind of been a disappointment since she's got in there. Not necessarily on anything pro-gun.
Well, she's the one that said, well, of course we would never suggest that you should be able to carry a gun in Times Square.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you not suggest that? I think that's something you would say.
Weird because her record on the Second Amendment before she was on the Supreme Court was great.
Yeah. But once they get in there, they got to start doing what the people that are paying for their lavish lifestyles let them vote on.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And it's always, I always say there's people who suffer from TDS. There's the Trump derangement syndrome, the people who think, he's the Antichrist. And then there's also the TDS Trump deity syndrome people who just cannot accept anything that he says isn't true, or that he's not just perfect. He wasn't sent by God. I'm like, you ask someone now who says, oh, Trump. And you say, well, does it bother you that back in an interview on camera a long time ago, he said if he ever decided he wanted to run the country, that he would run as a Republican, even though he was a hardcore Democrat back then, because Republicans are stupid and they will believe anything you tell them. I'm like, does that not bother you? And they're like, oh, I don't believe he said it. It's like, it was well known he said it. You just have to, if you have to deny reality to support someone, I just can't get behind your level of thinking.
Look, I mean, the fact of the matter is there's no critical thinking left in the world. Schools don't fucking teach it anymore because the people who fucking control the schools are the government, and the people who control the government are the billionaires who just want everybody to grow up to be a good cog in the wheel. So critical thinking is a skill that is severely lacking in today's society on all sides of the political aisle. So that's just something people need to be aware of.
But unfortunately, most of us, I don't even think I'm as good at it as I used to be. I've had several head injuries. Best grain weight for Hollow Point 38 Super. 2. I'm going to say
38 Super? Get a real gun?
Yeah, get a real gun.
Not buying guns in Mexico?
People up here, there's only one place in Washington where 38 Super is actually popular, and it's up in, I believe it's Leavenworth. It's because we got a lot of drug cartel people up there.
Yeah.
So they sell a lot of 38 Super up there because the drug cartels go buy their ammo locally.
It was very popular where I lived in Texas because I lived on the border. And 38 Super is one of the few rounds that it is legal to own in Mexico. So just attrition, it had become popular on our side of the border in Texas. But it is by no means a good round or anything. Or
no point in it. It's harder to find. It's expensive, and it's just get 9mm. It's the most common round fucking you can get.
Yeah.
John Bushk chimed in and said, "Mob cheating in the NBA Thankfully, wrestling is real and not fixed. Thoughts on all the fake video on YouTube? What if Hickok died? Would we really know? I think he might have already died, and they're just using like puppetry. It's advanced puppetry. But would we really know? He could be AI avatar. I don't like the AI shit. Now, I do like some of it. Some of it's kind of cool. Like if you see, like I've been watching this stuff like the evolution of Pokemon. And I don't even like Pokemon, but it's kind of cool. They do like life stories of what it's like to be born a Pikachu and be born. And I also watch that for like what it's like to be born a great white shark. And they show the life cycles using AI of a great white shark and stuff like that. I like when AI does really cool stuff or really weird stuff. But when it's just like Mr. Rogers fighting with Bob Ross, I don't like that shit because that's other people using other people's images without their approval to make points that they would never believe in. And I don't like that at all. I hate the fake famous people AIs, but when it's being used as an art form for something creative, I enjoy the videos. Unless, of course, you're meaning the AI videos like a lot of the channels will go, hey AI, make a video on all the new guns available right now, and then you go and you watch it. It's just a really robotic voice mispronouncing half the words, like the Waltera, or what called someone, typed in something wrong or something. So yeah, I hate those. I hate the gun videos and stuff. And they always have like what do you call it? The screen at the beginning. What do you call that fucking thing? The picture that goes along with your video. What is that called? Thumbnail.
Thumbnail?
Yeah, thumbnail. And they always have a thumbnail of some interesting looking gun that isn't real. That is just been made for the video, and it's not even in the video or anything. And I'm like, I got sick of those after SHOT Show because almost every video coming out of SHOT Show was fake AI created crap. And it's the same thing with comic books. We'll start watching a video about comic books or comic characters, and you'll notice it's AI right away because they'll be talking about someone. It's like, well, I was watching one the other day, and they were talking about the powers of the mask. The Jim Carrey character and the comic book character, the mask, and they kept showing pictures of Madam Mask. And I'm like, well, they obviously got their masks mixed because that's not the mask. That's Madam Mask. So, and you see that all the time. The picture doesn't go with what they're talking about because the AI gets something screwed up. So I hate those videos if that's what they're talking about. And I don't know what he's talking about the mob cheating in the NBA. I don't watch basketball.
No, it's New York. I think it's New York is coming down on sports betting because they caught like 30 or 40 fucking professional athletes that were actually like working with sports betting companies that were actually tweaking their performance to go along with whatever the sports betting companies needed them to do. And so there's like been some fucking arrests and charges for some
and tell me that the people who own these teams probably aren't also heavily invested in a lot of these betting schemes.
Probably, yeah.
And they have an interest in making sure that whatever is the best odds comes to fruition too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I can see where that would be a problem. It's like when people always like, well, look at Pete Rose. I'm like, Pete Rose did nothing wrong. Pete Rose bet on himself to win.
Yeah.
He never once bet on himself to lose. So if you're saying he had incentive to do his best and win the game, well, that should be. I don't care if you bet on yourself to win. It's if you bet on yourself to lose and then you start throwing games, that's when it should be illegal. Betting on yourself to win should be fine. And that's all he did. So I don't like people disparaging my sweet Pete Rose. That's back from when I actually cared about sports ball. Let's see, where are we at now? That was John Bushka. And then we got Clinton Barella weighing in here, and he said, what did he say? Thoughts on the $40 billion bailout for Argentina? Oh, that's tough. What do you think of that?
I think, we were just talking about this on my chat. I think it is a very, very bad look for Trump. Because, he campaigned on America first and Doge and not giving money to all these other countries and shit.
To be
And now
fair, though, he didn't know a lot of his billionaire buddies were going to heavily invest in Argentina.
yeah, I mean, in the end, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? Because a lot of times these things do happen, and then what ends up happening is they use that to fucking negotiate a fucking trade deal that ends up making us, a couple $1 trillion. In which case, if that's true, then that's at least, on paper, a good investment.
But if we made any money getting from Argentina, it would be at the expense of American businesses because our exports are pretty much identical.
That's true. So again, it's my initial thoughts are it's a very, very bad look for the Trump administration.
Especially the buying the beef to bring down beef prices instead of helping out our American beef industry. Yeah. And the problem with the beef industry right now is not actually the cattle ranchers. It's the people who own the processing facilities. The billionaires that bought those all up after the actual businesses and families that owned them went under, they control all the processing facilities.
Well,
and that's why ranchers.
China owns 40% of all our meat processing plants in the
and
country. That's another fucking problem.
And ranchers have been trying to say, hey, can we build our own abattoirs? Can we build our own processing centers? And they're being swamped in red tape and everything because all the big corporations in China and everything that owns the slaughterhouses are like, nope, we can't let them do that. They can't compete with our breadbasket we just bought. So the ranchers are getting paid minimal on their beef, and it's the actual processing plants that own the beef after it's packaged that are jacking the prices up. So if we could just start, letting the meat manufacturers start their own processing centers, or create a fair market where American investors can, get together and form their own local processing centers and make it easier to get USDA approval, because that's another thing that's holding them up a lot on the red tape for USDA approval. And I think if you sell in a state, that should be up to that state what their requirements are for you to produce and sell the beef. If they say you can produce and sell it locally, you can produce and sell it locally. And the government shouldn't have a say in it unless it's going to other states, which they don't allow right now. You have to get the USDA stamp, even if you're just a small beef producer in Ohio and you're only going to sell in Ohio, you got to do all the federal shit.
Which is bullshit and violates the 10th Amendment and a lot of other shit. Yeah.
So there's a lot there. And it kind of, and I don't know whether it's because the letter that was sent from the one of the big representatives of the cattle industry to Trump, the very first line was, "We love you and support you," period. However, what you've done with buying the beef from Brazil is a total betrayal. Why did you start with "we love you and support you" if you think what he's doing is betrayal? Are you that weak that you can't stand up to him? Or are you knowing that he's the kind of person that ain't going to read it unless you start off by sucking his dick first? So either way, that's a bad look. So didn't like that. I think that might be it for the super chats. Let me see. Yes, that's it. Let me see if we got anything coming in over here on questions. David Hayden said, I've heard you used to clean public restrooms. What was the worst mess you encountered? Have you ever seen an upper decker, I think is what he means, where someone poops in the tank of toilets and then poop flushes in the bottom tank? Most of the bathrooms I serviced didn't have that. They were the ones where the pipe comes out of the wall and goes straight into the bowl kind of thing. They were water on demand, not because they were like public restrooms, park restrooms, business restrooms, things like that. So I never really had tanks. But I couldn't even begin to say what was the worst. But generally, women's rooms were the worst because they have an aversion to touching the toilet seat. So they would just hover in the air and shit right down the side of the toilet and everything else. So just any public restroom, especially women's rooms, were really, really bad. That's a job I don't want to ever have to do again. Daniel Pennant says, what do you think about Bernie Sanders? Not particularly pro 2A, and his economic ideas only seem silly to me, but so do everyone else's. I think Bernie Sanders is probably got the right idea on some things and might have the best intentions on some things, but I think Bernie Sanders was probably more effective 20 years ago before he started selling books and buying investment properties and everything else to where it's kind of hard to take him serious now when you're a multi-millionaire talking about how nobody should be a multi-millionaire.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing is he might have at one point in time been genuine, but he hasn't been for a long time. Yeah, notice how when he became a millionaire himself, he stopped talking about millionaires and started talking about billionaires because he's a millionaire. So now we can't talk about them. And then when he bought his 5th fucking house, it's like, dude, okay, fine. And I don't begrudge you for doing all that and being successful, except that it's very suspicious because I don't trust anybody who's a politician in Congress or the Senate fucking getting that goddamn rich.
Well, then that means all of them because they all get.
Yeah, they're all. That's my point. But like, I don't begrudge you for being a successful capitalist. That's fucking awesome. But then to go around and talk shit about capitalism when you're fucking doing it is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing you can't say, oh, here's everything wrong with this system, and then say, well, of course I use the system because it's what we've got. Well, no, if you're that opposed to it and you think it's that wrong, don't use the fucking system. Yeah, I'd have more respect for you if you weren't doing the things you say are bad. Like when you say, oh, insider trading into Congress. Well, do you have an investment portfolio? Of course you do. Yeah, so it's hypocritical in some ways. Now, is he one of the more honest ones? Well, in some ways, yes. Because he's the only politician I've ever heard go on a TV show recently and say, right is corrupt, left is corrupt. It's a different flavor of the same thing, and it doesn't matter whether you vote Democrat or Republican, they're corrupt. That's the closest thing to the truth I've heard a politician say in a long time.
Well, until he went on fucking Daily Show this week and fucking started simping.
I don't watch that.
Even when Jon Stewart was going on there and saying, hey, it sure does seem like Donald Trump with his fucking all his shit with, Medicare and Medicaid and trying to nationalize drug prices and all this shit. Isn't that exactly what you were saying back in 2016? Like, it seems like he's doing more than any other Democrat's done for fucking trying to do something with drug prices. And this is Jon Stewart who fucking hates Donald Trump. And he's like, even I have to admit, it sounds like at least in one area he's doing a pretty good job. And Bernie Sanders was all like, but no, he's Democrats and he's just Trump, and like fucking stuttering his way through a 20-minute fucking interview while fucking Jon Stewart was pointing out, hey, he's doing what you said you wanted to do.
But never did.
Never fucking did. Are you going to at least give him credit for that?
Well, I like how they always say, well, when the Republicans were in charge, they did this horrible thing. And then they get elected and they don't undo the horrible thing because it benefits them too. Same thing when the Republicans do the Democrats did this horrible thing. But then when they get in power, they don't undo that horrible thing.
Nope.
So it's just they do more horrible things, every one of them.
Nope.
Edgar Cortez sent in a question, says, I have a quote of $849 for the CZ75D P01 from a local gun shop. I have sticker shock. I can afford it, but I feel decadent spending this kind of money when I own 3 other 9mm handguns. I'll get it anyway. Does this price seem reasonable to you? I haven't bought a CZ75 in a long time, but that don't sound real high for a CZ.
I mean, for the DPO1, I think that's probably a good. I mean, it's not like oh, that's a hell of a deal, but like it's not overpriced.
Yeah, you're not being screwed.
Yeah.
And it's getting expensive to where anything that's not polymer or is so expensive these days.
Yeah.
If it's not a polymer striker fired gun, you're looking at $700 starting off on most guns nowadays.
Yep.
And that's before you get into nicer stuff. So yeah, I'd say get it. You can afford it. You only live once. Get it. If you feel like you have too many, sell one. But I wouldn't. You can afford it. Get it. Yeah, you deserve it. That's what we should say. You deserve another.
You're gonna have a hard time finding somebody on this channel to tell you not to buy a gun.
Yeah, we're not much of a support group. We're more of enablers. We're not, like an anonymous support group. We're a very outwardly upfront enablers group. Like, buy it. Of course, I will hate you when you do, because when you get something new and I don't, I'll be pissed. But because I haven't gotten anything in a while, and I'm starting to feel bad about it. Speaking of people getting something new, let me share this here. Casey Seawright just sent in. He got a new pistol. Now, this don't bother me as bad because I have one already, but still, he got something new and I didn't. He got a new Colt. Shoots great. Got a 3-inch Colt right there. Looking good. It's what I've been carrying every day for a while now. Why will these not fucking close? Close, god damn it. There we go. And John Heasley sent a picture of a 327 TRR8 that he's going to buy. Now, I'd rather he buy that than the 360 PD because I don't have a 360 PD right now. So it would make me mad if he got one and I didn't. I think that's pretty much it for the questions right now. There was I'm not even going to look at that because he sent me a meme with Rafiki in it and said that Lion King monkey. I'm like, if you can't use his real name, then keep him out of your mouth. But so let's get over here to the regular questions. We're almost out of time. I don't know if we got anything coming in here. Did you have anything you saw that you wanted to cover?
No.
Did you tell? Did Yankee Marshall tell you he's been hit in the head? I think I have told you I've had a few head injuries. Luigi Mangione said that he was beaten up by 7 ladyboys in Thailand a few months before he killed the healthcare CEO. He was full of anger. What did he do to get beat up by a bunch of ladyboys?
That wasn't all he was full up with.
Some insensitive person posted a video saying that dogs need to be taken out of vagrant encampments in Oakland. These dogs are the only companions that some of these poor folks have. Plus, the dogs love being with their owners. They don't mind living outside. Hell, that's the life for them. They're like, we're always out inside and my owner's always with me. Usually the dogs,
as long as they're being taken care of and not,
they're fed,
malnourished and treated like shit, then who gives a shit? Yeah,
well, then you take away from them if they're a mistreated dog. But if the dog looks clean and brushed and fed, and they're happy as hell. So leave them the fuck alone. A kinkajou is similar to a lemur in some ways. I think that's what it was I was trying to come up with. The G.I. Joe character Hit and Run was convicted of a hit and run. He told the cops, I don't know what you're thinking, but it wasn't me. What? I don't understand that at all. Maybe there's something. It's Yakima where the cartels are big. Okay, I can never remember where it's at. 31 arrests for NBA betting. Okay, that was what you were talking about earlier. The Amish have never been getting fucked bad with all the FDA shit. The Amish. Are the Amish exempt from a lot of stuff, or do they follow the same things?
I have no idea. Never lived anywhere where we had an Amish community, so I have no idea.
I haven't really lived near them either, so I don't know much about the Amish. Believe it or not, I'm not Amish, and I don't really know anybody that is. I don't think I got any Amish people that follow my channel. I bet it would be.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, you would think. Aren't they not allowed to have internet?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, is there anybody in here Amish? Because if you are, I don't think you're being a very good Amish person. Yeah.
Somebody who went on Rumspringa and never went back.
Well, that was a big problem, I guess, for a while. That was happening a lot, and the kids weren't coming back. But nowadays, I saw a thing not too long ago, though, that during the 80s and 90s, the number of kids that left and never came back was going up and up and up. But in the 2010s, that number started going down because kids came out into the real world and they can't do anything because everything's too fucking expensive. So they're going back to the farm. So I guess the high cost of living's helped the Amish in some ways. Still getting the 360 PD. You better not. If you do, I said I will come shit on your front porch. But that looks like that's it. Anything you want to cover before we leave? Any last comments or anything?
No.
Okay. Well, that's it for us today then. Thanks everybody for coming. And Never Enough Ammo for showing up even on the day we didn't ask for him to come. He came. And who's
Say bye.
Hold on. I want to share the puppy. How do I show just the puppy?
I don't know.
I mean, just you. I know there's a way to do that.
She's getting tired. It's past her bedtime.
I thought there was a way I could. This ain't working. Cropped layout, press Shift 2.
All you got to do is take yourself out of the chat, and it'll just show me. It's not that
I
difficult.
don't want to do that. I want to be in the chat.
Everybody can see the dog. She's here.
Oh,
She's just tired.
Oh, is that the same one you had?
Yeah, this is the one I got. I got her when she was 4 weeks old.
Yeah, she was itty bit. Well, she's still small.
Yeah, she's still small.
Yeah, turnip. If I was holding
Used to
turnip
fit in my hand.
Yeah.
When we first got her, she fit in my hand.
Yeah, she don't now. Oh, you all look very similar. Actually, you're starting to look alike.
Yep, it happens.
You should give her a little goatee, little beard. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe. Till I see you again.